So sometimes just talking through problems, sometimes just harboring it deep within ourselves isn't enough, right? And this is where, for me personally, some of the Native American traditions with healers and things that I've done, I found incredibly valuable and beneficial for accessing some of these energetic realms of my own being, for starting to get real with what are the things that I'm holding on to and I'm not ready to forgive in maybe someone or myself. This is the inner work, right? This is the important work. And I personally believe that all of us can do that work. It's just a matter of kind of making that step. And I think a lot of times there's almost like a taboo quality to like having any sort of mental or emotional issues or baggages, even though we all know we all have them. It's kind of like, oh, don't talk about that, And I mentioned today, we look at our clinical practice, the number of people on antidepressants, on anti-anxiety medications, on sleep aids is phenomenal. And it's only growing every single day. So this is where this holistic blueprint, making these little changes in our daily lives. According to Ayurveda, one of the most direct ways to affect the mind is through the breath. Right? What happens when we're agitated and angry? We hold our breath, it becomes reflected in our breath. It's almost like a one-to-one correlation. This is why simple exercises, there's a few pranayama or breathing exercises in the book. They're very simple, but they're more than just breathing. This isn't just, oh, okay, this sounds kind of lame. I'm just going to take a few breaths. What's that really going to do? Well, it does a whole lot. Because the breath is affecting the subtle anatomy of the body. It's affecting the flow of prana. It's affecting these centers of consciousness and energy. It's affecting the oxygenation, right, of our cells, of our tissues. I went to an acupuncturist a few days ago up in Park City. He's this Chinese guy. And he's really kind of funny. And he says to me, he goes, these 10 commandments or whatever it is in your culture, I don't really know about them. No one seems to follow them. He goes, I have 4. And he's kind of waiting for me to go, what are they? And I'm just like, oh, that's great. He's like, let me tell them to you. So the first one he says is, it's kind of more on the body, on the physical level. He says, every single day, I think it's good to stand in a very hot shower with the shower hitting the base of your neck, right? Because that's going to be opening up these subtle channels and also the brain and cognitive function. It's going to be doing all these really beneficial things. I said, okay, that sounds pretty good. I can't argue with that. Great. He said, also, when you sleep, before you sleep, it's great to soak your feet in really hot water because that sends out some of the toxins that you've accumulated and it also relaxes you. I said, okay, yeah, this is all in Ayurveda. This is fine. And he goes, one of the most important things, he says, I take 6 deep breaths every 2 to 2.5 hours during my workday, consciously. And I was like, wow, that's incredible. And I looked at the guy and he looks very, very vibrant, incredibly vibrant. And I said, wow, that's great. I said, you really commit to that every 2.5 hours? He's like, yeah. And I have for many, many years. And I'm like, okay, this guy gets it. This is important. This is prana. This is this flow of energy. And then number 4, he told me very seriously, he said, do not get married. I'm actually serious. And I thought the guy was joking. I was like, yeah, that's pretty funny. And then he looked and he's like, no, seriously, don't get married. So I said, thank you, wise doctor, for your tips. So anyway, pranayama, this active breathing, 10 breaths in the morning. How long does that really take? Doesn't take long at all. Deep breaths. And when I was talking about one-pointed concentration earlier, the breath to me is one of the single best ways to bring consciousness into that one point. I find that if my mind is really active, to sit down, deep inhalation, deep exhalation, and I'm actually feeling the quality of that breath, I'm feeling it go through my nose. My attention is on that breath. Coming in, belly's rising, going out, belly's going in. What happens is the mind starts to get quiet. And next thing I know, I'll be in deep meditation. Not even trying. I can barely get through breathing exercises, actually. Because about a minute into it, I'm in meditation. And meditation, of course, we've already spoken about that. This is one of the best self-referential techniques where we turn inward. And we find that silence, this all-pervading silence, which is in the cosmos, which is in us. That's what we're trying to go to, this unified field of consciousness, transcending the chatterbox brain, right? These beta brain waves that chatter, chatter, chatter. We're trying to go beyond those to find silence. So this exercise, I encourage you, try this. Try this in the morning in your daily routine. Sitting down, 10 breaths. That's it. And you'll find that then it starts to feel good. And you want to learn a little bit more. And that's when you start to maybe do some yoga postures in the morning. This is when maybe you start to do some of the massage that we were talking about. I assure you, general mental health and harmony on a daily basis really shifts when you have consciousness in your morning routine versus just hitting the alarm clock and you're up and gone. And everyone always says, I don't have time, I got to feed my kids, I got to do this. I don't buy it, actually. If something only takes 5 minutes, you deserve that time for yourself. And I tell people that very, very frankly. No, take the time. You need to take that time. And this is the beauty. This is this word dincharya, or the daily routine in Ayurveda, and all the little things that we can do that start to balance the body, the mind, the senses and spirit. They make us feel vibrant and alive. We start to glow. We start to have this ojas. We talk about this end product of perfect digestion, right? Metabolizing all of these sensory impressions. All of a sudden, the crap that people want to dump on our shoulders kind of reflects off of us. We can be compassionate, but you know what? We don't have to take that. And we also start to work through our own stuff more efficiently. So to me, this is an integral part of holistic health. The mind, the emotions, right? Of course the physical body is important. But we always have to do the deeper inner work as well. And I encourage you to all check it out because it's pretty wonderful.